This is ATROPA calling with a film specialism's trailer set in space. It's a sci-fi exploring the medium of sci-fi and exploring how the disintegration of the cost regarding visual effects and designing, interiors that can mimic the quote unquote real thing can be made for a mere pittance of what it once was. This specialism project is an experiment, a passion project between me, Jack and James, really challenging ourselves and forcing our hand and seeing if we can really pull it off, if we can really make an exhilarating, interesting, fun, 1 to 2 minute thought-provoking trailer. So the premise is a classic sci-fi trope. Basically, humans escape Earth in the hope of discovering a new utopia. My role on this project will be director, therefore this has quite a lot of responsibility, and for my role I need to concentrate on communication with the cast and crew, with time management, with strong leadership, with knowing exactly what is going on every single shot, for being totally aware and for being that person who can link both the crew and the cast and keep the whole project moving swiftly and smoothly forward. These characters will be in the style of an Aryan-esque type super being, genetically engineered, so they have a beautiful exterior juxtaposed with the cold, hard clockwork of a computer. Since we've formed the group, we've been working very hard in pre-production, far too much to show in a 5-minute pitch. So I'm going to leave you with a mood reel, a sort of culmination of thoughts and ideas, cut to some music. Enjoy!
Hi guys, so for my Film Specialisms module, I'll be working as an art director for the sci-fi short film ATROPA. I'll be learning and developing new skills within the pre-production and set building process, constructing 3 small interior rooms built within the film studio that showcase an example of what it's like to build an effective set on a small budget. This is something I've never attempted before, and I feel like it'd be beneficial for my future career options as it's an area I've always been interested in. Having been inspired by 80s sci-fi films, I want to take a retro approach to the interior design of the shuttle, whilst including future technology concepts within the set to make it seem more realistic. And finally, I know I might sound crazy by saying this, but if possible I'd like to do it for under £200. By undertaking this project, I want to learn the necessary skills required to pre-visualize a scene and recreate that scene as best possible to my original designs. This will include a lot of planning in regards to prop design and construction, with a key focus on obtaining the correct materials to build the props I want to make. I hope to document my work by keeping a folder of progress from start to finish that details my initial floor plans, designs, and concepts for movable modular flats within the set. Additionally, I want to record a time-lapse video of the final set construction as it unfolds. So an effective example of this can be seen in the assembly of the Maelstrom set from Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End, which I'd like to show you a short clip of.
The blue screen is now drawn over the black pearl as the filmmakers start the first day of principal photography. You can see the other crew members are still hard at work finishing up the Flying Dutchman. From this wide angle, we can see just how big the Palmdale stage is and why we needed so much blue screen to cover it. This is a great view of the 2 ships together. We can see the camera cranes and the range system working take after take. Stunt players are swinging between the ships, while others are engaged in carefully choreographed sword fights on deck.
Having always been a fan of the sci-fi genre of films, I've always wanted to work on one myself, but until now I've not known the best way to approach it. As part of my research, I wanted to look into the real-life examples of space shuttle interiors as well as examples found in film, so to look at the different ways they contrast each other. I first looked at the interior of NASA's Space Shuttle Discovery, which shows much smaller dimensions for what I was initially expecting. From this point and from Tyler's direction, I knew that I wanted to recreate the claustrophobic nature of being trapped within a confined shuttle. I want to make the audience feel as trapped as our actors, so I'll do this by restricting the size of the set and placing objects in front of camera to restrict the frame, similar to the setup of the interior shot from Gravity. So then I started looking at some of the sci-fi films that most inspire me. This includes Kubrick's 2001: A Space Odyssey, Duncan Jones' Moon, and Ridley Scott's Alien. All these films use different styles to showcase the director's vision, and it's this approach I want to take in our film. So I really like 2001's simple approach to the corridor sequence. Its hexagonal structure seems really simply built, it's effective with its lighting, and overall I feel it's a look that's achievable within our time frame. Also, I like the look of Moon's walls, but learned when researching this that they're made in visual effects, so it's something I really want to branch away from because I feel that physical sets are more authentic to the realistic look of shuttle designs. And finally is the film Alien. I love the cryogenic chambers within this scene. They're so simple and effective at creating the mood and tones of the film, and it's this minimalist approach I want to take away and adapt. I'd like to briefly talk about lighting, and whilst I know this is not really my area, I feel heavily inspired by some of the lighting designs within sci-fi films. Most notably in Space Odyssey, and while some of you would disagree, Tron Legacy. I'm hoping to recreate some of the effects found within these films by using neon, fluorescent paints, and a black light to simulate glowing displays. Whilst blockbuster sci-fi films have been the main contributing factor to wanting to pursue set design, it's no question that the reason these sets are so effective is down to budget, something I don't really have. So to keep the cost of set design down, I'm hoping to use upcycled materials from local scrapyards using objects such as PVC pipe, air conditioning vents, and spray-painted plastic boxes to create the illusion of a space shuttle interior. I have a short clip from Dostoli Digital, an American studio that decided to make a no-budget sci-fi short that explains some of the techniques I hope to use when constructing the set pieces for our film.
Sci-fi sets can be the simplest and the most fun to build. Now, most science fiction projects nowadays are all green screen with CG backgrounds, but let's take a look at some methods that you can build your sets for real. For the Starship interiors in Omega 35, we used lots of broken electronics, old computers that we ripped apart, a washing machine that we found by a dumpster. We also made some pieces with styrofoam containers, PVC pipe, and other plastic trash. Toys work great for this, even if they're not sci-fi. Here's the bottom of a truck that we're just going to place on that side of the shot. We'd also shot a bunch of lights to use in various places. In a new composition, we can assemble the lights together and then bring that comp in and screen them on top. A little cardboard goes a long way. Or maybe it's a lot of cardboard. Whatever. Just spray painting cardboard gray or black and then dirtying up the edges is a good start. This is made out of cardboard, some to-go containers, plastic caps, straws, a spray paint can, and a lemonade bottle. We also bought a big box of wire connectors, which is pretty cheap. Here's a green screen shot that uses images of the consoles with the same lights screened over it from Omega 35.
So here are some basic shuttle interior props that show how effective a set built from the ground up can look. To build the set pieces, I will be using mainly cardboard and recycled plastics, then using Christmas lights behind old arcade machine buttons to create control panels. For the interior displays, I am going to build cardboard wraps that cover the edges of old monitors, incorporating technology into the set. As part of the pre-production process for set design, one of the most important areas is your initial drawings. For the project, I will create a pre-production folder that showcases the pre-visualization process from drawn design to actual set pieces. These are some examples of my A-level work, a brief example into what I hope to achieve for the final pack. Here are some further examples of how my original drawings translated into actual sculptures, some of these pieces standing roughly at 4 feet tall. So, although I've had past experience with model making, I've never attempted a project of this scale. So I want to use this opportunity to really refine my skills. For the film, I've already started work on initial floor plans for the shuttle interior. Although these are not finalised, they give a brief insight into what I hope to achieve, highlighting the split 3-set structure between the shuttle cockpit, corridor, and cryogenic chamber room. I am also catering the set to allow for a projected display at the front of the cockpit. Here is an interpretation of the ATROPA ship corridor from a 3D view. This drawing highlights the modular nature of the flats within the set, and how I hope to decorate the 12 flats that can be moved and integrated into each of the 3 sets freely. Finally, here are some designs of the New Earth mission logo and early cryogenic chamber concepts. I hope to get custom-made patches of the logo manufactured so they can be sewn onto our actors' costumes. Although this is only a brief look into what I hope to do for the full project, I hope I've given you a grasp of what I aim to achieve. And if anyone wants any more information, just send me a message, let me know. If you want to work on the film, just, let us know. So that's all, folks. Thanks for watching.
As many of you may know already, I tend to stick to one role when it comes to filmmaking, and that's producing. For specialisms, I've decided that I want to further my knowledge and skills within the post-production stages and venture off into the editing side of filmmaking. And of course, I'm going to be still producing this film, and I understand that combining the two roles and doing a good job in both may sound a little complex, but it shouldn't be too difficult, as I've already produced a couple of films now. At the moment, I can only edit using Premiere Pro, and I know the basics of After Effects, but I want to be able to edit to a higher standard. For specialisms, I think it would be useless for me to focus on learning Premiere, and I think it would be important to learn the software that seems to be the most in demand, Avid. Avid is a complex and, in my opinion, less visually appealing program to edit with, but as we all heard on the Alumni Day, it seems to be the software that is most popular in the working industry. In the future, I'd perhaps like to work as an editor, and I think it was a great chance for me to start now on a showreel. As the visual effects sequences for ATROPA are going to be rendered in HD and with detailed textures, the final cut of the film will be nowhere near complete for the deadline of the specialism's presentation. For example, to render out a 13-second clip created in After Effects took us just over 30 hours, meaning for a 10 to 15 minute film to be rendered it would take a good 3 weeks, and that's allowing for some delays. Thus, I'll be creating a 1 to 2 minute trailer of the film for the presentation, which will include footage we would have shot as well as computerized imagery. My editing approach for this trailer will be postmodernist, avoiding the classical narrative styles of discreetly heightened cuts. The trailer for ATROPA will be structured using a non-linear form. The reason for this is that the film itself will be partially based on the laws and physics of time, which makes for a great excuse for us to play around with the structure of the film. I want to include several jump cuts to make the audience aware this project will be jumping from time spaces. This will also help the audience realise that the film isn't real. Tyler and myself have come up with a storyboard for the trailer that is subject to change when a final script is developed. The trailer, as you can see, doesn't stick to the linear timeline at all, and in some cases may not give the audience a clear understanding of what the plot of the story is, which I think is a great way to advertise a film.
It is impossible to go in that area at all. That area is now underwater. Very strong, sustained winds with gusts.
12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The clip that you've just seen is created using found footage to map the expected shots that we'll be shooting. The trailer I've edited hasn't been true to the storyboard that we have created, as I've needed to fill in the space with clips that I perhaps felt fit better. So, in conclusion to what I've previously said, I want to be able to edit an entire trailer using Avid Media Composer, and to do so to a professional quality. To show that I've actually used Avid to complete the product, I'll be keeping a log throughout the editing process which will include screenshots and descriptions. The end.